Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Hi everybody, how are you today? Good, I hope? Yes, I understand that you're having a hard time. A lot of people do, but I'm here for you. I love you, and we'll get you through it with cool gaming-related madness, and sometimes the occasional thought train that goes off into Nowheresville. The Week in Bryan. Let's get through this. Today's going to be a fun episode. I have been waiting on a package for the last week or so. I knew it was coming soon, and I grabbed one out of my post office box for the show. Address is, I believe, in the description of the video. And thanks to one of our dear friends over at Steamforged Games, we have a couple of cool Epic Encounters boxes to unbox. And when I got them yesterday, I was chomping at the bit, or champing at the bit, as I've been told is actually the term. I did not know that. I was champing at the bit to get them open and look at them and read the adventure and stuff inside. But I have been strong, and instead I dove into Baldur's Gate 3 and Payday 3 yesterday to keep myself away from opening the packages and spoiling what's cool inside. I haven't even really looked at the back of the box. So when we get a chance to take a look at that a little bit later, it's the first time for everybody. Probably not everybody, but first time for everybody right here. Maybe, I think. I don't know. Okay. Week in Bryan. Personal, things are doing okay. We got through Mother's Day and my stepkid's birthday, and just kind of all the things last week, all the heavy stuff that comes and goes and stuff that happens. I think everything has been all right. We did good. We made it through on the other side. I'm still doing the gym. All those things are the same. I need to be a little better about my snacking and do more low sugar, higher protein snacks. Not last week. Yeah, maybe last week. Last week I was going through the grocery store and I saw an advertisement for a grab bag box of all the weird spicy chips. The things that I would never buy an entire bag of. I can't just sit down and eat an entire bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, or I don't think I've ever bought a bag of Flamin' Hot Funyuns, but they're awesome. And I'm like, you know what I'll do? I'll buy this grab bag full of single bags. And then, I'll parcel them out, and it gives me a chance to actually pay attention to serving sizes and not sit and engorge myself. And so what I ended up doing is over the course of a week, I ate the entire box. Like many bags over the course of the week, and it blew my sodium levels out of the water. It definitely made for a couple of days of me going, why do I feel so funky? And it's because I was just carb loading. So I'm trying to get better about that this week. Trying to get kind of back on track. I don't want to say cleansing, because that's not what I do. But just really focusing on getting myself back in order. I bought a new pillow to help with my back issues, which seems to be helping, I think. So that's been basically the personal journey. Gaming wise, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3, both alone and with my wife, and a lot of Payday 3 with my buddy Bryan. He spells it wrong, so it's okay. We're not like twinsies. But I had heard a lot of kind of, I don't want to say negative reviews, but a lot of mixed reviews about Payday 3. And I can say honestly that I think the game is definitely an improvement from Payday 2. I think it's a better game. The only drawback that I think I have with it is there does seem to be a couple of bugs here and there that, like, sometimes your character just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Like, in every other instance, I can press the X button and grab a cop, we'll say. And it'll all be going fine, it'll all be going fine, it'll all be going fine, and then suddenly there's just no option to, like, you go to do so and there's no option to do so, the alarms go off and everything goes crazy. Or like last night we got into a pretty nasty firefight, and Bryan started shouting that his gun just simply wasn't working. And it's like, I'm like, well, you out of ammo? You know, do you need ammo? And he's like, no, I have lots of ammo. I have the gun. It just isn't firing. So I mean, like, there's things. But I think the number one drawback to the game, in my opinion, apart from occasionally just not working, is from time to time, I'd say about 2/5 of the time, it is almost impossible to actually get into a server to play. You just sit there and load forever and a day while it's waiting for room to find for your party. So there's that. That's a drawback. Other, like, analog style gaming. This weekend I've got my wife's Land of Monsters D&D game. Super excited. We've been kind of setting ourselves up to deal with a schemy plot, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm liking that a lot because my son is playing a changeling bard in that game, and it's very cool to see my son role-playing with us, but also seeing kind of how sometimes he comes up with ideas, or I like to see him not try and answer everything like a 16-year-old boy with, vicious mockery and a rapier. You know, like, I like to see him try and, work his skills in social magic. Sometimes literary social magic. But that's really it there. Hobby-wise, I should have primed it. I finished printing. I bought on the recommendation of my good friend Lexington, I bought a Warzone Eternal scale sci-fi noodle bar. It's like got a removable ceiling and everything, so you can be inside the building. The door is actually a slide. Supposedly the shutters are a slide as well, but I can't get the shutters to fit in the thing, like, without breaking them. So I don't know if that's something that maybe I'm just screwing up. Maybe I'm printing it too thick and need to print it like much thinner. We'll see. I'm going to give it a try because I do like the idea of kind of modular, being able to drop those shutters down and turning it almost like a urban bunker. But I did get it fully printed. The roof got a little wonky. I think before I changed the film on my 3D printer, I think there may have been a weak spot, and it pulled away from the plate just a little bit because it's a little warped. But I epoxied it together and used some extra resin and UV'd it, so it's working just fine. Weighs a ton, but it was working just fine. And I'm hoping to at least get it primed and like dry brushed sometime soon. Not to mention, I only have a handful of weeks before Origins, and I really want to. I mean, I guess I got like over a month. I really want to make sure I've got my preview minis for Warzone ready to have at Origins, because I want to be able to put some of those on the table in like some fun games. But that's really it. I haven't done a lot, but I need to do more. Work-wise, it's been a good week. That board game project that I said I was working for, doing some narrative, I got that done and turned in. They are looking over it now to see if I need to make any cleanups. I am still waiting to hear back from the Shadowrun guys about dipping into the next novel. But I did sign up for a little adventure work from my old Essence 20 alma mater. I'm excited about that. I can't talk about the specifics because it is actually for something that they haven't announced. It's not the same as writing rules and stuff and designing for them like I did in mass when we created Essence 20. But it feels nice. It feels good. It's like returning to an old friend and just sitting down and having a nice conversation. Not to mention, I love those guys over there, and it's nice just to have a reason to interact with them a little more on the day-to-day, on the regs. And then, speaking of Warzone, talked about that a minute ago, had a great conversation yesterday with the folks at a popular battle mat manufacturer. We're still working out the details, but it looks really, really good. Like we might be able to have a place where we can direct our players to get. I can't, for licensing reasons, I can't say, the official Warzone Eternal battle mats. I'm not allowed to say that. But this company is basically going to make a series of battle mats that are perfect for our game. And we're working on the details for that. So I'm super excited. Not to mention, I love their work anyway. I've got a couple of their mats to begin with. And I'll tell you more once the deal becomes concrete. Not to mention when we get the first, kind of the first prototypes or whatever, I'm sure I'll do a video to talk about them and show them off. But more on that in the future. Additionally, for the Warzone fans that are listening, there was a thing that popped up on the Discord that initially I looked at and totally skipping over. I'm bearing the lead. Last week, may have been a week and a half ago, but it really kind of came to my attention last week. There is a large contingent of Warzone players in the Czech. I believe it's still called the Czech Republic. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but what I believe it to be the Czech Republic. And they had their first Warzone Eternal tournament with the beta rules, and obviously all proxy models and whatnot, but they ran their first tournament, and it was large enough. I want to say it was like 10 players, 10 or 11 players, and they played like 3 games each. They played like 30 some odd games in the course of a day with the new rules, and it apparently went well. They've had some notes and some comments and things. It is evident to us who have been with this project since the very beginning, and walked through the playtesting and seen all the ups and downs we've done with different rules and stuff, seeing some of the things that they're noticing, we notice that and go, that is something that we found a couple of years ago, and we made the change, and then we changed it back, or we changed away from it, or it was different. But it's cool that they have that kind of love for the game to make those notes and make those comments and stuff. So super excited, and as soon as I have something awesome to kind of send out to those guys as a thank you, I plan on it, because it's really cool to see that kind of attention when we're still in the beta rules release. Like the actual rule book isn't out. We don't have a rule. The minis aren't actually out yet. But they are being made. It was really awesome. So I gotta throw a shout out to them and thank them collectively for doing such a great job. But I digress. As part of that, I spent a lot of time on the Warzone Discord, and the fan Discord. We actually do not have an official Warzone Eternal Discord, just as a note. But the fan Warzone Eternal Discord, we had, excuse me, someone asked a very normal question about the seconding ability, basically allowing you to bring, technically seconding and advisor and dark cult, all of the things that let you bring some of the outside factions into a Agents of Light or Servants of Darkness force. And they brought up a question that initially I thought of. I was like, we've handled this. It's no big deal. We took care of this already. And then Alex and I sat down and we had a talk about it. That it is a little deeper than just, we've handled it. There's more to it than that. And we've decided that we are going to dig in a little deeper and figure out how to to make it work a little more seamlessly without changing the deeper function of the rules, and still rewarding all of the awesome people from the Kickstarter that was something that they really were into. So while I'm not going to explain exactly what we're doing just yet, it'll probably end up being like a backer update or something. I just want to basically let everybody know that we are looking at that as a kind of a minor rules hiccup, and we believe that we've come up with the best fix that should make everybody happy. So I can't really talk about it more until we've completely polished it up and we know exactly what we're doing. But we know the direction, we know the goal of it, and I think that people will be happy. Which, again, at the end of the day, is making a fair game that people have a good time playing and walk away from the table, win or lose, hopefully having had a good time, is our overall goal. So keep that in mind. Which brings me to Evil Genius, my mainstay 9 to 5er, so to speak. It's more like 8 to 4 or something like that, but either way. Let's see. We have had some ups, some definite ups this week. Turned a project that I thought was going to be kind of, I wasn't really sure when I was taking a look at the submissions. I saw it, and we figured out collectively as a team how to turn it into something awesome. One of our cartographers, Matt Francella, has delivered some absolutely fantastic battle maps for us from Tactical Maps. A couple of them I can't show you yet, or aren't released yet. There is one in particular that, well, I guess it's no secret. Anybody who's played in the Evil Genius Organized Play System, the Ego program, they are all aware that like our central location, like the place that everybody, the coffee diner, the place you go to meet your Johnson in Shadowrun, like the place that you go to like meet up with your handler and get your missions and whatever, is the Nacho House, which is a Mexican-German fusion restaurant similar to Denny's. And they're omnipresent. Well, we've done a lot of cool stuff, illustration wise with Nacho House. Like there's a picture of what the front of them looks like. We always do menu items in the adventures. One of the rewards for one of the missions is the Nacho Wagon, which is basically a souped up secret agent van that's in Nacho House colors. And later on, there might be more of that. But Matt put together a tactical battle map. Not to say that you'll need it in one of the adventures, but Matt put together a tactical battle map of a Nacho House. And for me to say, to take one of my bad line sketches with scribbles on it and to turn it into this map, Matt is a freaking genius. He is amazing, and I applaud him audibly right now. Not only for the work that he has done in the past, but the ongoing work that he is doing for us. We've got him booked up because it's so good. I'm so happy with him. Not to mention, we actually put out, that's actually something good. Over on Drive-Thru RPG, we put out a battle map pack of modern maps that Matt did. Basically I think it's Matt's Maps Pack 1. I'm not sure. But we put it out last week. I think it was last week. It may have been 2 weeks ago. But for the first 5 or 6 days that it was on Drive-Thru, it was in the top 5 sellers. It was in that here are the top 5, top 10s or whatever. It was number 3 or 4 for several days. So if you need modern tactical maps, please go grab that. Not just because it shows Matt some love, but it shows the fact that this is a product that you would like to see more of. because we use a lot of the metrics from the which things sell, which things don't, on drive-through. Not so much for it's where the profit comes from or anything like that, but it's a great way to know, is this something that someone would like to see a maybe traditional published product in the future, rather than just a PDF, something that's a printed project. If it goes through the roof and we go, all right, everybody and the brother loved this as a PDF, maybe we should think about making a physical version of it. So yeah, go check it out. More Evil Genius. Had some great conversations with Legendary about some Pac-Rim and Kong stuff that we are still finalizing. It is, I can't say that it's like all berries and cream dealing with licensed products. Sometimes there are rules and regulations and hiccups and permissions and that kind of stuff. But when it works out, it feels so good. And this week was one of those weeks. This week has been a good week. A lot of good stuff coming out of that relationship. And I can't wait for you guys to be able to see get the fruits of those labors. And then, of course, the last and definitely not least, my personal baby, Intergalactic Heroes, is shaping up. The initial manuscript to be able to go into beta and stuff is shaping up very well. We're getting a lot of good notes from the playtesters on Discord. I'm really excited. Me and the production manager, Paul, we sit down once a week and kind of go over some of just the grease in the wheels. And one of the things that we did this week was sit down and create a cohesive vision for where we want the art and stuff to go as we start getting art made for this book. And there are a few pieces, there's a few concept, like so a couple of splash pieces, there's a couple of character pieces that I cannot explain more, or I cannot emphasize more just how I want an artist to do these, and I want to see them, how they're put together and how they're done, because I think they're going to be so cool. And when we get some of those concept pieces in, I'm sure I'll be able to share some on the Facebook page and tell you guys here to please go to the Facebook page, become part of the conversation. So it's just it's been a good week, which coming off of a couple of rough weeks. It was definitely good to have happen, which is why I've spent 20 minutes talking about the week in Bryan, because I got my feet back underneath me. I feel good. And then to cap it all off, I get boxes from the great people over at Steamforged Games about their new Epic Encounters. And I'm like, you know what, guys? It's time to tell the Nerd Farm what's inside. And hopefully you guys have listened to some of my other ones. I gotta get my my box opener because I don't even have the shrink wrap off on these yet. We will take a look and read the blurb on the back, and then we will get into this and see how awesome these are. If you've seen my other unboxings earlier in this channel, the other Epic Encounter unboxings, this is probably going to follow a similar suit. Like it'll follow the same kind of pattern, but there's always a cool theme. And this particular theme, this box is called Savannah of the Knoll. Red in tooth and claw, the Knoll Pack emerges from the savannah to bring savagery and destruction to your tabletop role-playing games. All right, so I love gnolls. I have always loved gnolls. I love hyenas. I think hyenas are amazing. I could watch them on nature shows all day long. They're an interesting pack animal because they're matriarchal. They've got, it's either the first or second strongest bite force of a mammal. Their digestive tracts can digest chunks of bone. They're amazing. They are amazing. And gnolls originally were just kind of like hyena people. now they've turned into, servants of Yanogu, partially demon, hyena creature. They're amazing. And what it does, by adding that cool layer to gnolls and making them more than just, here's a hyena-shaped orc, is you get the opportunity to do more with them, because they can have infernal stuff. I've got some 3D prints of hyena gnoll centaurs, which is pretty cool. But let's take a look. All right, so we have Savannah of the Gnoll Pack. Includes 18 finely detailed miniatures. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so I am going to do this, and then I'm going to set this right over here, so you guys can see that. We have the ad that talks about Shrine of the Kobold Queen, Lair of the Red Dragon, Hall of the Orc King, Caverns of the Frost Giant. We've already done those here, and those are like their first two epic encounters. So this flyer is a little old, but it doesn't mean you can't get these and then go to their thing and get them. Either way, you should check it out. The link is in the description below. We always have a cool battle mat. So we have, I'm assuming it's going to be a Savannah. We have a kind of a Savannah path with like a little pond, like a watering hole. That's kind of cool. And then the other side, and the other side is more of a deeper, like a cave lake, like a cavern lake. And that's pretty cool. Very cool, very cool. All right, so that's a cool map. Oh, and I'm folding it up wrong because I am bad at map. All right, then we have the Epic Encounters booklet, which we will take a look at in a moment to see what's on in there. But then the actual models themselves, again, the last handful of the Epic Encounters boxes. The first ones were just basically, they had slots and they were taped shut. These are like pressure loaded lids. Like they're built to, like, die cut to match, and the actual like recessed parts are shaped like the individual dudes, so you can store them in the tray. If let's say that you don't want to keep a bunch of boxes or a special set for them, you can store these in their trays, which is very, very cool. All right, so we're going to set these off to the side because we're going to look at them in a moment. Let's take a look at the adventure. Savannah of the... This is a big one. This feels thicker than the others. I wonder if there's just more meat for the Gnoll Pack. All right, Savannah of the Gnoll Pack. Let's see. It's got that table. So this is actually one of the things that I really enjoy about these. So they're set up as anybody can play. But anybody who's written an adventure or read an adventure that's for a set number of levels and then tried to run it for different power levels, everyone goes, that's really... it's too easy, especially with D&D. It's very easy that power scale tips exponentially very, very quickly. So one of the things they've done is they've put... Oh, there's some typos. There's a tiers of play section that basically says if your players are average levels 1 through 4, it is a lower tier. All the difficulty numbers on that one are... So when it says, here's a trap, make a dex save, it doesn't tell you in the adventure what that dex save difficulty is. It's just based off of the tier that you're playing. So in this case, it would be a 12. If you're levels 5 through 10, it'd be a 14. If you are levels 10 or above, it's a 16. And then there are things, unless it specifically states what the damage should be, like for a creature, it is... it just basically tells you if you're at low tier, set it at 2d4. If it's at middle tier, set it at 2d8. Like it's got that listed out for you. And I think that's cool. I think it's a neat way of doing things if you don't know exactly the levels that you're being played, or that are being played. All right, we have a cool picture of kind of demonic gnoll eyes. And then there's this like gnoll face and a bird something, which makes me I don't know what that is, but I kind of want to know. I'm sure it'll probably tell us. I'm sure it'll tell us. All right. So we got the facts on gnolls, which is cool. Let's read you a quick fact. A quick fact on gnolls. While the majority of gnolls fixate solely on consumption, the warlords are capable of strategy. They plan raids weeks or months in advance, ascertaining the weaknesses of the enemy and plotting to exploit them. Gnoll warlords, also called gnoll fangs, are always substantially bigger than typical gnolls. With a hunger so acute, they frequently resort to cannibalism. Other gnolls simply accept this as the price paid for leadership. So, yeah, it's just cool. It's just it's little bits like that that'll help you get into the, I don't want to say get into character, but get into the feel of it. We've got some information about some story hooks to bring this kind of adventure to your game. Like for here, a party of scholars ventured into the plains, seeking to catalog the myriad forms of life to be found there. None returned, but fragments of their journals somehow made it back to nearby cities. They speak of a rising threat, a force composed of fur and teeth and ravenous hunger, coming to sweep all before it. Perhaps the secret to stopping this wave of destruction lies in the depths of the savannah where the scholars ventured. So it's just a nice little kind of bait the hook to get people to come out to where this adventure could take place. It's very, very cool. Then we have the features of the savannah. So like something that you could quickly describe. The savannah stretches on and out on every side, seemingly endless. The heat presses in on every side, the air tremulous with it. Hollowed dead trees are found in 3 main locations on the savannah. They protrude from the arid earth, providing important vantage points for the gnolls. So it's just neat stuff. It's neat stuff. Then we've got kind of a few quick descriptions of the enemies that you'll face, and then a detailed thing of the different things on the map as the characters walk around. Yeah, so we got hollowed trees, tall grass, oasis, just good stuff. Just good stuff. Then we have, was that the pool? Okay, the other one, that the rocky thing is called the pool. That's the name of that other map. And that's got its own rules. Very cool. Then there's neat parts of the standing stone, which is apparently something to do with gnoll magic. And then we get into the actual characters themselves, which now we'll look at this and show you the models as we go. We have rules for a dire hyena, and there are 3 of them. Here is the dire hyena. Very cool. Large base model. It's got big shoulder spikes. Looks like growing out of it. Like that's not even not just like a harness. Oh, well, maybe it might be a harness. It shows like a leather belt thing around its waist, but I don't know if it's a harness or not, or if it's just decoration. But either way, it's got these big spiky bits. It's like a big spiky hunchback hyena. And there are 3 of those in the box. Put you back. All right. Ouch, ouch, ouch. We have feral gnolls, which are these little guys. There are 4 of them, and they are just hand-to-hand, bitey, little medium-sized gnolls that run around biting people. But they apparently also have a special attack called the Wicked Claw. If they're from Boston, it's a Wicked Claw. Wicked Claw. The Gnoll Reaver, which is this guy, and there are 4 of these, and this is like a glaive. Oh, they're calling that a great axe. So that's a gnoll great axe, and it's just a gnoll with a big heavy weapon. Nothing special about that at all. Like as far as like different things that it can do, it just hits real hard. Oh, and it has reckless attack like a barbarian. Cool. Next we have the Gnoll Fang, So this is the leader they were talking about. This is the leader they were talking about in the fluff. Now this is a large gnoll. Oh, he's cool. He's kind of a chonker. He's got some spears on his back. Let's see if I can get you to take a look. He's got some spears on his back. He's not really armored, but he's got some bones tied to him. He's got a big old cleaver that they call the Slaughter Blade. Very cool. And if you look close, he is chewing, ripping, stuff off of a humanoid arm. It looks like a clawed humanoid arm, so I think this might be the cannibalism they were talking about. Yeah, so there's one of those in the box. There's one Gnoll Fang. We've got a couple other models here. What are they? We have the Gnoll Seeker. Which one's the Seeker? Who are you? Wait a second. Hang on a second. Do we have two different stat types for one critter? No. Oh, no. Okay, the picture is wrong. So we have a Gnoll Seeker, which is basically a Gnoll Javelineer. So it's got javelins, and it's got a cool... It has rules for being on high ground and precision accuracy. Very cool. So basically it's got javelin-based sneak attack. That's cool. And then we have the thing that I couldn't tell what it was, and there's two of them in the box. These aren't gnolls. These are called vulture Wait a second. Is that... No. Okay, so there's a stat here that there's a stat line here for something that doesn't have models. It's just a flock of vultures. It acts like a swarm. It occupies another creature's space. So weird. This is the first time I've seen this in one of the adventures, is a stat block for something that they didn't put a model for. Weird. I mean, cool. It's neat that they made sure that was included, and it's not just like an environmental effect. That's just, I wasn't expecting that. Now there are two of these, which these are the things that are definitely not gnolls. Remember that piece of art that showed the bird thing, the bird face in the very front? This, if I can find it. This, how there was that kind of bird nose. So apparently that is called a striga. It is a medium fiend. Seems to be kind of like if a gnoll and a vulture had a baby. And it's got kind of demonic wings, and it's got that beak face, a weird kind of pokey staff, and a dagger. Is it a dagger, or actually it doesn't? I think it might just be there for show. So there's two of those. There's two of those striga, and so this is cool. So the striga have malformed transformations. Their arms have become to form into imperfect wings, giving it a flying speed. Partly etheric, melee and ranged attacks targeting striga have disadvantage until the striga is hit by an attack, after which attacks are made normally. So that you have disadvantage to hit them, like they're kind of ghostly, sort of, until somebody connects, and then they're brought into the real world. They're spellcasters. They've got talons. They've got a staff. They have a staff blast, so they can shoot lightning out of their staff. Just a cool little individual. Again, this definitely not the highlight of the box, but a very interesting and cool concept. Although I am seeing the art, and I'm going to show you the art here in a second. That even though they do not, the rest of the creatures have the gnoll, well, other than the vulture pack, have the gnoll subclass, large humanoid gnoll, medium humanoid gnoll. But obviously the hyenas just have beast, and the striga just has fiend. So it doesn't have gnoll as a subtype at all. But I think they may have started as gnolls, and they've just been kind of warped out of being gnolls because, as we can see here, that vulture head is a mask. It's got straps on it. It straps to the face of whatever this thing that's turning into it. And when I look at the model a little closer, it's got little hyena ears. It's got little hyena ears behind that mask. So I think the Striga used to be gnolls and then have been since changed, maybe by that Standing Stone's magic or whatever, into these creatures. And then we have a cool piece of art that shows a bunch of gnolls worshipping a giant skull totem. And then the credits. This particular one was, the writers were Alex Delaney and my buddy Richard August. So, dude, Richard, awesome. Richard, if you're listening, I still want to write one of these. And I have ideas. So, let me write one. Alright, so that's the Savannah of the Gnoll pack. Let me close this up and set it aside because we have one more unboxing. It'll be a little easier to unbox because it's only one model. And I will say this, it is the first of its kind. I have never seen anything like this. This is Rage of the Gnoll Warseeker. This is basically a giant gnoll. Literally, cloud giant, stone giant, clay giant. No, it's a golem. All of those things, except a gnoll. And I want to get this open up and take a look. All right, so we have Rage of the Gnoll Warseeker. Let's read the back of the box. A terrifying engine of destruction, the Gnoll Warseeker carries death in its clawed hands. Can any hope to halt his bloody rampage? Cool. All right. So let's take a look. As expected, very well constructed box for storage purposes. Set you over here so you can see that. We have the advertisement, which we knew was coming. We get the... Ooh! There's a fresh out of the printer smell out of this one. Whew. Our battle map for the Warseeker is... Oh, this is a good map. I love this map. This is like a ruined village. Like a southwestern style adobe mud construction, lots of ladders, this is a good, I like this map. Yeah, it's a solid map. On the other side, oh, wait. The other side is more of the same, same concept, but nighttime. So it's got a bunch of lights and darkness, and there's a well in the middle. Cool. I mean, it's not the exact... That's why I flipped it over twice, is because it's not the exact same map. It's not like, daylight, nighttime. It's obviously the same environment. It's the same, that kind of ruined city, but then there's a daytime one and a nighttime one. Right. So the encounters always have... The boss encounters always come with a punch card sheet. In this case, we have barrel tokens... So whatever the adventure has to do, whatever the adventure segment has to do with him, will have some barrels involved. So I'm going to put those right here, and just like before, it's got actual token slots. It's got slots for the tokens, so it's for storage purposes. And then the other one, we've got Gnoll Reavers. So those little feral gnolls that are just all bite and claw. Wicked Claw. There is 10 of them, so there's 10 of these that go in that little slot. Boop. And the reason why they do that is because obviously you can use the Gnoll Reavers from the original box, the Gnoll Pack box, but let's say that you didn't buy that first. Let's say you bought this. They give you these tokens to serve as kind of, hey, the focus of this box is the boss, the big model, but here's a way to have some minions, so it's not just all everybody piling on the big guy. And speaking of the big guy, Holy shnikes. This dude's rad. Now he has a separate butt. He's got a butthole. He's got a separate butt piece, which for his tail. So his tail will go in there. So his tail goes in. That's actually pretty for being that PVC style hard plastic. That snapped in there pretty good. It doesn't look like it needs a lot of cleaning. Maybe a little bit of green stuff to patch in if you wanted it to be a permanent fit. Obviously, it will not be a permanent fit if it goes in the tray. So you would need to be able to take it in off and on out, and it is very sharp. But here we go. So he's got his little base that he's walking on. He's got shields around his waist, like regular person size shields. It's got that knoll face, that regular. He's like he's an action figure. He's huge. But then he's got this weapon. We're gonna look at his stats here in a second. But this weapon, I don't know what it is, but it's got like a little tiny axe blade that's almost as big as a person on one side, and then there's just this huge like bone stone thing with a bunch of metal riveted to it, set into a tree branch. This dude would be terrifying. Like, gnolls are already kind of scary, but you get one giant-sized? That's impressive. All right, so let us get into its rules. What does it come with? Rage of the Gnoll Seeker. Before starting, talks about that same tiers of play thing. Okay. Very cool picture of the War Seeker kind of stomping across the battlefield. All right, so we got some background, some history of what the War Seeker is. It's spoken as a single entity, but there could be more. Most of what is known of War Seekers is myth, masquerading as something less ephemeral. Let's see. Factoids. The club the War Seeker carries with it is never formed from the same material, purloined from one ruined building or broken ship or a smashed caravan, but it becomes the same club. As soon as it is hefted in the War Seeker's hand, it transmogrifies somehow into the same club the War Seeker has always carried. The same club, ready to rain down blow after blow until it finally breaks, ready to be replaced by its twin once more. Oh, that's still cool. Every death caused by the War Seeker makes it stronger and deadlier. This is so good. Oh, this is neat. Every gnoll is capable of becoming a War Seeker. The raging hunger inside a gnoll drives it to consume. Also known as, not for this because it's a trademark name, but in regular D&D, that would be the hunger of Yunogu. The more it consumes, the greater its strength and size. Those who manage to consume enough will eventually assume their final form as a War Seeker. Gnolls flock to these creatures, seeing them as an eidolon, the pinnacle of gnollhood. Few survive long enough to become a War Seeker. Most are either killed by their own kind or by those who hunt gnolls to ensure they never achieve this apotheosis. That's so good! If Richard wrote this, props to you, man. Alright, and then we've got a bunch of ways to... Oh, that is a great piece of art. The shadow behind one of those... The big trees, the savanna trees, the shadow of the War Seeker. That's good. We got some hooks to bring the War Seeker into game. Then we've got some tactics for when it fights. Different ways. Different... It has the memory of magic. War Seeker brings the past with it, not just the memory, but the tangible reality of old ways. It warps the fabric of the world, enough to make magic behave somewhat differently. Whenever a creature is casting a spell which would inflict damage or restore health to another creature, they should roll a d6. On a 1, the damage inflicted or health restored is halved. On a 6, the damage inflicted or health restored is doubled. That could be amazing. And then the nature of the War Seer, there's different things that can be part of it. It could be poisonous, it can have life drain. Cool. Now we have rules on how to use the maps, rules how to use the barrel tokens, the different things that you can find inside the barrels, how to use the walkways, and if you get attacked while on the walkways. Very cool, very cool. And then this is something I dig about the boss fight things that Epic Encounters puts together. Is there is a way, basically they kind of cook up a not like a rinse repeat style, but a thing that you can do to make so you're not using this boss as run up and hit a guy, run up and hit a guy, run up and hit a guy. There's a way for you to kind of AI the creature, to you give it a pattern of that it should follow. And obviously you can skip it or use your own. There's just different ways to do it. And that's cool. And then there's the other Warseeker abilities. We have Eat 'em Up. If the Warseeker takes sufficient damage, it must succeed on a DC 21 Constitution saving throw at the end of the turn, or regurgitate everyone it has swallowed, because it can swallow people. Cool. It can throw people and other things very far. It has a chattering okay, that's cool. That is a spit with an elephant on it. The Warseeker has spitted an elephant. So good. Chattering Laugh does psychic damage and frightens people, which makes sense. You have a giant that's making hyena laughs. And then there's apparently they have a once in a blue moon kind of, not legendary action, but something it can only do now and again. Instead of doing lots of hits, it does one gigantic hit with its claw, like a baseball swing, and it's called That's Outta Here. We have some lair abilities, so things that can happen inside the Warseeker's lair. And then some cool cinematic moments that the GM can read. The treasure that is involved in its lair should you defeat it. And then we have... Interesting. I don't know what this is. I wonder if it's a preview to something coming down the road. But it's a Warseeker fighting, like, multiple giant, like, dragon worms, like serpent worms. It could be like it's not a Hydra, but I think it might be like some kind of like desert sand snake, like a super sand snake. Very cool if they're making that as like what this guy is going to. Not to mention if that's basically a preview of something to come. Smart on them. Smart on them. And now we have the Warseeker actual stats. We have the Null Warseeker Pack Cub. That's the lower tier version with only 126 hit points. It's got Keen Smell, Rampage, Club, Bite, Claw, all the things you think it would. Then the middle one is the Warseeker Pack Member. A lot of the same stuff, but also has magic resistance. And then we have the Warseeker Pack Leader. Did I say Pack Leader? What was the first one? What was the middle one? Pack Member and then Pack Leader. So the high tier one is Pack Leader. Only 333 hit points. Very scary. Keen Smell, magic resistance, legendary resistance, and then all of the kind of fun legendary actions, including Swat Away. Makes one club attack. If the attack hits, the target must succeed on a DC 20 saving throw or be pushed, strength saving throw, or be pushed up to 15 feet in a straight line away from the Warseeker. And then, yep, my boy Richard August. He is the one that put this one together. And I am suitably impressed. I love Knowles, and I love everything about this. So please, if you haven't given Richard a follow anyway, you should. He's one of the writers and creators over at Steamforged, and a close friend of mine, and one of the main reasons why I enjoy these products so much is because they put so much heart and talent into them, and Richard is a lot of that heart and talent. So, Null Warseeker, Savannah of the Knoll Pack. I'm going to take his tail out and put him back in his box. You get to go home until another day, my friend. Very cool. Super happy. I love these things. I know my wife adores the Epic Encounter stuff. Like it makes life so much easier for a newer GM, and gives a long-standing GM kind of a breath of fresh air to be able to just not have to. You still get to work it into your game, into your setting, into your narrative, but it gives you a chance to take a handful of game sessions, and I don't want to say run on autopilot, but not be so heavily invested in creating absolutely everything, because it's already kind of created for you for a decent chunk of time, giving you a breather, or giving you a chance to work in your free time more toward what's going to happen afterwards. So very, very cool. Thank you so much to the Steamforged guys for sending this out and letting us do this unboxing. Super excited, super happy. Great week this week. Hope everybody's having a good time. Please be safe. Wash your hands, get your shots, wear a mask if you have to. Don't lick doorknobs. Just basically don't be a jerk. And try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. We will see you next week with hopefully some very cool stuff. And until then, play some games. We'll see you.